Welcome back to another video of the Sports Speed Insider, and today I'm going to take you through understanding the daily doses of how you can apply the Sports Speed system. One of the biggest challenges that we face as coaches working with our team sport athletes is team sport training. Pretty simple, really. So how do we navigate around that? Two examples here. If you are just working a part-time situation, you're going to have at least 2 team sessions a week and a game on a Saturday. And within your team sessions, you're going to have either, if you're lucky, a weight session before training, maybe 15 minutes in the warm-up to do group speed, and then the actual team sport practice itself. If you are in a professional sporting environment, you're still going to only have your 2 main days, maybe plus another install day, and then 1 to 2 weight sessions a week. And then maybe, if you're lucky, a speed session, like a standalone speed session 2 days before a game. So again, percentage of time wise, there's not a lot of time that you can be dealing with. And that's why the sports speed system is so powerful, because the success lies in it by understanding the facets of adaptation that we can create with the time that we have available. So again, let's go right back to the principles of general speed. General speed is all about developing linear and pre-planned change of direction outputs. They're your maximum outputs that we're just trying to increase. So everything that we do in our general context must support that. So when we look at our training programs, then we have to ask that question. And your weight training programs that you have, I think then you need to shift the emphasis to create performance programs, and performance programs will then ultimately start to drive your intention to generating performance enhancements rather than weight room enhancements. Remember, those early adaptations, those early acute training effects will be long gone quite quickly, and our goal is to nurture that annually, biannually, periodically. And I think if we can accept that and start working towards that, then we're going to be really well stood off. So when I'm just going to walk you through something today to get your brain activated and get you thinking about how you can start to implement the daily doses of the sports speed system. I've broken this down into our degrees of transfer. Okay, the way in which we get effective transfer of training, which is our motor control, so the skill learning, the skill acquisition, then the power output, the biodynamic and bioenergetic outputs that we're able to create with our athletes to improve speed and change of direction. Then the actual sports skills itself, okay, so that will cover general, specific to special speed, and then the sport, the tactical speed, the tactical elements of speed. So if we were to consider this scenario as a in-season training week, that's going to be the best place to start. And then we'll create a variation quickly for an off-season, because if we can get it right in season, if you can get it right in competition, then it's easy to do it out of competition. And when we get to in competition, we tend to just hold on to our weight training exercises like they're going to be any important when they're really not. So when we consider this, if we go right here to day 6, that's all about the sport. We can't do anything there, okay? But ultimately we're expressing everything else. And day 7, of a cycle is going to need to be rest, because it's the day after the competition at a minimum. So then when we start considering, well, how do we structure and what are we getting daily doses? Let's argue again, day 3 is probably going to need to be some sort of rest interval there. This is a typical field sport. Tuesday, Thursday is the big high days, the tough days. Team run on a Friday, game on a Saturday, install day on a Monday. So we've kind of got this low-high model. Okay, so low, high, high, low, high. All right. And on our low day, our initial low day, we're still going to be carrying fatigue off of day 6, which is our game. So when we come into what would then technically be day 8, right, as a rollover, it's going to be day 8. what we have to do here is prioritize the motor control elements, the skill. Okay, so we prioritize the motor control elements of our movement and the skills of our game. So what does that look like practically? Well, using the learn, load and execute formula, today in our gym session or your pre-recovery field session or your athlete session, everything would be learn focus. All right, it would be low level. All right, so remember the rules of low intensity training can be extensive in nature, sweaty in nature, not too taxing on the cardiovascular system, and definitely not taxing on the central nervous system. So what we're able to do is everything here can be done for skill driven. All right, the things that you're working on in your stacks. And next week, the lesson and the mini lecture is going to be on coaching within your drill stacking. We're here focusing on that front, that learn. All right, you're able to utilize yielding isometrics, overcoming isometrics, low level full range of movement patterns in isolation. Really think your wall drill variations, some light sled work here. All right, and our extensive tissue quality. Then coming into day 2, we're able to hit a full stack. Okay, we're able to address motor control, address power output, address the skills of the sport and the sport itself. So what this would look like if you were it would be really useful in private part-time environments. Players would usually have turned up to training and do a gym session before we hit the field. So the example that I would use here is we would focus on the specific power outputs in the gym before, and then the motor control elements on the field along with the speed skills, as it were. So you would here be focusing on, in season, you'd be focusing on explosive jumps, specific power output in specialized exercises and specific exercises. So are we able to do, can we do loaded broad jumps, sled broad jumps? Are we assessing power with our wall drills? If you've got an accelerometer, you can put it on the hip. If you've got a linear transducer, you can put it on the hip as well. And then address, some of the other elements of conditioning that you might want to, a bit of explosive upper body for muscle mass protection and stuff like that. But then utilizing that 15 minutes before training to start to pick a skill element of the game that you want to be reinforced by speed. So in rugby union for wingers or just backs or any position, can we start to learn to accelerate aggressively whilst catching and passing a ball, and not having to, even if we have to check on the pass, not lose speed and lose power in our movements? Can we do build-up, kick chases, chip and goes in Gaelic sports, for example? Can we work on the timing of running and playing the ball? And then obviously we're going to use sport. We use sport itself, aren't we? They're going to be training, all right? And then always the skill that we choose supports the first practice element of training. All right, then it's rest. And rest, daily doses of the Sport Speed system, rest is addressing tissue quality. So when we want to, I'm a big advocate of yin yoga. I'm a big advocate of stretching for all of our athletes. I think it's an under-tapped area. So that's where we're going to start to decompress the body, decompress the athlete to move on. And then we're going to be high back in again. So what we can hit again is a full stack. Oh, my tick's gone mad. It's a full stack of practice there. We can get it all in, but it should all complement. And if you wanted to think, what emphasis am I going to change if it's in season, then we're going to be looking at a maximum speed day on a Thursday and a short change of direction and acceleration day on a Tuesday, and then building through. And then our Friday, we replicate the same thing here, or we pick a separate avenue of skill that we want to adjust. And then on Friday, we have some fun. We have some play. There's some speed games that you can play where we're going to just basically be focusing on addressing the skill And it's going to be indirect learning, okay, towards the motor control. So it's more exploratory, exploration, having fun, doing those things. So that's how I would daily dose the sports speed system from a conceptual point of view, and one that I found works really, really well. And stay tuned for the video next week where we are going to be coaching in the drill stacks itself, and I can't wait for you to see that one. So thanks again, I'll see you soon.